Hi, everyone. My name is Tiff, and I am the behavior manager at the Humane Society of Western Montana. I'm also a certified professional dog trainer. And thank you for tuning in to tonight's live stream. It has been a long, fun journey, and tonight is puppy class, of course. And I just want to share some news first. As I posted in the comments, this is our second to last puppy live stream. The last one will be next Thursday. Topic still to be determined, and you can submit ideas, of course. And the reason why we are winding down with the live streams is we are very excited to start offering group classes. Now, I do want to say we are not ready to open puppy kindergarten yet because it involves having 10 or more people in a small room, and vaccinations are underway and all of that, but we always just want to prioritize safety and keep everyone safe. So I'm not ready yet. We are not ready yet to have a bunch of people in a small room, even though people wear masks, but we are going to start with group classes. I recommend signing up as your puppy is safely vaccinated, and you can absolutely email me more for more information. But I will start announcing that via Facebook once we get the plan hashed out. And tonight's topic for puppy class is impulse control, which for us puppy owners, we know puppies just do not come with impulse control, like zero impulse control. So how do we teach them to be patient? Impulse control or lack of impulse control is the root of the problem for many, many behavior challenges. When a dog inappropriately runs up to another dog or chases wildlife or runs out the door or snatches food out of your hand or steals food off the counter, at the root, it's all lack of impulse control. And there's not just one solution because you need to find a skill that teaches impulse control for every situation that your puppy might be impulsive in. But I'm going to give you a few easy and fun exercises to solve some very, very common scenarios that people usually struggle with their puppies. So I'm just going to answer a quick question here. Are the previous live streams recorded so you can watch them? Yes, they are all on YouTube. So I am going to post a card at the end of this live stream with information, but our YouTube channel is HSWM, and all of our live streams are there forever for free. We are very happy to always offer these free training services for our community. Thank you for asking. So impulse control, if you're going to follow along, because tonight's class is going to be very fast-paced and very interactive, all you need is your puppy, your leash, some of their kibble or treats, as you're used to hearing me say, perhaps, and let's see, a plate or like a dish or something like that. So let's get started. The first impulse control exercise we're going to work on is teaching your puppy to wait for food. And you can picture this in many ways. Some dogs will wait while the person puts the bowl of food on the ground and then the dog gets to eat. And that's the classic example, but the exercise also applies to teaching your puppy to be more patient about food in general, whether it's in a kid's hand or on a table. And I'm going to apply the skill in a later exercise revolving food on a table. Let's start with the basics though. So I'm just going to tilt my screen. There's Paya. She is the best puppy. Yes. And if you followed these live streams from the very beginning, you must, isn't it amazing how much she has grown? She's still not very big, but just you watch live stream 1 and then watch this one, and it's like a totally different dog. I see my training pay off day to day, week to week, and it's just been such a joy sharing this with you guys. Alrighty, so here's the first exercise. I want you to have your kibble or your treats ready. And I just first want you to reward your puppy for sitting or lying down. And just a quick refresher, if your puppy doesn't do it naturally and quickly yet, all you need to do is take a piece of food, and let's say she's standing and moving around, put it in front of your puppy's nose and slowly move it up over their heads. Good. And then give them the treat. Good. If they happen to be sitting, go ahead and say good and give them a treat. Good. I can spend 5 minutes talking about training 101 at the beginning of every live stream, but I won't get too much into it here. All I will say is you must say good before you give your puppy a treat. And in training, we call that a marker. A marker is used in all animal training, whether you're working with dogs or dolphins, and actually even with people. Good. Good job. Here's your paycheck, right? Good. So all I'm doing right now is I'm rewarding Paya for offering a stationary behavior like a sit, or if she was naturally lying down. Good. And as a result, what your puppy should be doing is just kind of remaining in that position for longer than a second. Good. And then here comes another little piece of kibble. All right. Once your puppy is in a stationary position, we're going to start building in some more impulse control exercises. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to hold up the treat, pause for a second, then say good and give it to them. If at this stage your puppy jumps up, so I'm just going to mock it here. So let's say, oh, she's jumping up. Just move the treat behind your back and your puppy will learn, oh, if I am impulsive and if I jump up for the treat goes away and I don't get to have it. And very likely they're going to default back into a sit. But if you can hold out the treat for 1 second and your puppy doesn't get up, say good and give it to them. And let's just repeat this a few times. Good. Good. Notice I'm not holding it right in front of her nose or anything like that. I'm making it easy. I'm holding it pretty high up. Good. And then she gets the treat because she's still remaining nice and calm rather than impulsively jumping up for it. Good. 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 Now here's what we're going to do. We're just going to make it a little harder. Do not make it too hard, but I am going to start holding the food out in different positions. So before I've been doing this, I've been keeping it high so that it's far away and she's less likely to jump for it. Now I'm going to hold it to the side. Good. Maybe I'm going to switch hands and hold it on this side. Good. Maybe I'm going to hold it just a little bit lower. Good. And as you can see, I'm adding some degree of variation now. Good. But I'm still moving very, very slowly and making it difficult just a little bit at a time because I don't want my puppy to get frustrated and fail. So if I go too fast to holding it here, of course she's going to try to get it. That's not very fair to her. Good. Good. All along the way, what your puppy is learning is when the person is holding something desirable in their hands, as long as I remain patient, I get something good. Good. To reiterate, if your puppy does try to jump up or snatch the food before you say good and give it to them, simply put the food behind your back and your puppy will learn that being impatient makes their opportunity go away. Good. As I continue to make it difficult, more difficult, but only a little bit at a time, notice that my hand is moving closer to her. Good. I know the camera angle is a little weird. It's kind of coming from the top today, but it's going a little closer. Good. Still thinking of different directions. Good. Make sure you say good before you give them the treat. Good. 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 Now do you see I'm kind of doing something tricky here. I'm gradually moving it towards the ground. But at this stage, she is just learning, I just sit here, this food comes to me, and which is effectively impulse control and patience. And eventually you can get to the point where your puppy will be very calm and patient, even though the food is all the way on the ground. I do not expect that to happen in the first session. I just want to show you what the progression looks like. Good. 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 Get it. So that was definitely fast forwarding. If you practice this exercise for 2 minutes a day, I think you can get to food on the floor within 1 week. So don't rush though, because the quality of training is always more important than rushing to the finish line. So we can also practice this variation with a bowl or a plate. So you can get your dog's dinner bowl or food bowl, and for the sake of example, I'm just using a plastic lid for this. It is exactly the same, except you are using the bowl instead of your treat pouch. So you can get your bowls, you can put some of their food on it, but it's the same thing. Here is the temptation. Dog is calm. Good. How about if I move it? Still calm. Good. How about if I move it? Good. Move it a little more. Good. And then as you can see, over time, not tonight, you can get to the point where it gets all the way on the ground. Well, good. Good. Get it. Yay, you did it. You did it. Awesome. Slow and steady. This should not be stressful. If you're constantly on the verge of going like, don't do that, I'm gonna reset, and things like that. And you know, puppies make mistakes, we make mistakes, mistakes aren't bad, but if you're constantly correcting mistakes, you need to do something differently rather than be stuck in the cycle of constantly correcting mistakes. So this simple exercise has so many applications. You already see how this can develop into a very easy and effective behavior where your dog waits for their food rather than jump up on their bowl and knock it all over. So, you know, wait for your food and free. You can eat. That's a little off screen, but still you saw that she waited. Excellent. I know, that's like a toy, huh? I get it. And also, what a great exercise for teaching your puppy not to jump up when humans are holding something in their hand. So whether I'm walking around with a mug of coffee or I'm walking around with literally my dinner on a plate. So here we go. Bread on a plate. My dogs are not going to try to mug me or jump up or get into trouble. Good girl. Alrighty. As always, if you have questions along the way, please post them in the comments and I will try to address them. I need to stop this here, even though it's cute, but it's not playtime. Bray, go take a break. I'll let them play later. If you want to see them play, I let them play in yesterday's live stream because I talked about how do you manage a multi-dog household. Like I have a small space, 2 very high energy, high arousal dogs who want to play and get to play, but only when certain rules are followed. So my life is relatively easy, even with my 2 crazy dogs. All right, so we worked on this wait for food exercise, and I showed you how you can do it with food in your hand and then also use a bowl or a plate. Let's work on a different skill. This is teaching your dog to wait patiently at the door. And to do this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate my entire setup so that you can see my front door. And here we go. You get a little tour of my house. Well, not really, because my screen is down. I promise it's not much. You're not missing out on anything, except maybe feeling some pity for me or whatever. Just kidding. All right, here's my front door. And I'm gonna get my puppy. So give me a moment. I'm gonna get her on her leash. All righty. So this is a very critical skill for really obvious reasons. It's very dangerous for puppies or dogs to bolt out that door. I mean, if you have a fenced front yard, wonderful, good for you. It's less of a risk for you. Make sure that front gate is closed though. And, you know, for me, I don't have a fence out this front door. It's, you know, a few dozen feet and then there's the road right there. So I really, really prioritize teaching my dogs to be patient at the door, even when people are going in and out, so I don't need to worry about a dog running out, getting lost, or getting hurt. Guess how this exercise starts? It starts just the same as the one before. When you think about impulse control, you want to think about the fact that when a dog is in a stationary position, they are much more likely to be patient compared to if they're standing or fidgeting. So the first thing I'm going to do is just stand in front of the door. And this part is important, standing in front of the door, not all the way back here, in front of the door. And I'm just going to reward my puppy for sitting or lying down. Right, Paya? Yay. Standing is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with standing, but you just need to be very, very stringent about looking for a standing still and not a standing and like fidgeting or wiggling. Fire. That's garbage. Good. So I'm just going to take a minute and reward her stationary behaviors at the door. Good. 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 The leash is only on her as a not a formality, for safety. Like if I make a mistake and she runs out, I am not worried because she is still on a leash. Good. After you have rewarded your puppy for doing a calm stationary behavior at the door, here's what you're going to do. You're still standing between them and the door. It just makes the training a lot easier in the beginning. But what you're going to do is you're going to crack it open just a little bit, not enough for your puppy to go out. Well, it's locked. Good. And if your puppy is still being calm, good. You're going to continue rewarding them for being calm. Remember in the previous exercise with the food, and if your puppy jumped up or acted impatiently, move it away. Guess what you're going to do if your puppy tries to bolt out that door that's cracked open? All you do is you close it. You just take the opportunity away. There is a lot of dog training focused around controlling the dog physically. Like she's trying to get out and I'm going to hold her back, right? Or she's trying to get the food and I'm just going to yank her back. And, you know, it is easy to do that because we are bigger and stronger than our puppies. And even with grown-up dogs, it is easy enough for most people to do that. But to me, that's not very effective training because what happens when my dog's not on leash? Well, like in the house, when she's not on leash, I want to be able to walk around with food and not need to get into like a very physical match with my dog for impulse control. And I want to be able to have my dogs off leash and open the door and not worry about running them out. So the leash is only here for backup. This is not involved at all in teaching them the skill. So again, I'm rewarding calm behavior. The leash, honestly, I can just step on it. I can let it hang at the side. It's not the important part. I'm going to just open it slightly, just crack it. If she gets up, I'm just going to calmly close it. But if she's still calm while it's cracked, good. I'm going to give her a reward. Good. As you can imagine, the next step is to crack the door open more. Well, good for stationary behavior. Good. Good. And then when she is calm enough, I'm going to give her permission to go out. Free. And out she goes. All right, you ready? So I'm going to do that again. I'm just going to repeat. So let me tilt the screen so you can see better. Good. Rewarding a calm stationary behavior. Good. When my puppy is calm, I'm going to crack the door open just a little bit to make it a little bit harder. Good. I'm going to continue rewarding this excellent choice that she's making. Good. I'm going to crack it just to make it a little bit harder. Good. Good. And then when I've had enough, or when we've practiced just for a few seconds, I'm going to give her a release word, like a permission word to let her go out on my terms. And if she tries to get out the door before I say that, I'm just going to slowly close the door. No big deal. She has just learned that when she is impatient, the door closes and her opportunity to go outside goes away. All right, let's do this from the top. Good. I'm going to show you the release portion once more. Good. Crack it open. I'm going to fast forward. Good. Crack it more. Good. And then because she is still patient, free. I just gave her permission to go outside. Oh, did I drop a treat out there? That's a rock. Okay. So let me show you what this looks like in practice, which is dog is off leash. Oh, well, hi, let's go. I've actually never done it off leash with her before. So good girl. So she made a mistake there, which I should have had the leash on in case she was going to run away, which I know she's not. and then I would give her the release word if I wanted her to go out. Good girl. But if I don't want her to go out, like I got to get the groceries in or whatever. Good girl. She's still learning, but she's doing great. My older dog, I can leave my front door wide open and do multiple grocery trips or get the mail or whatever, and he will do whatever he wants in the house, but he will not run outside. And that is the result of starting at this easy stage with your dogs when they're puppies, teaching them from the get-go not to run out the door without permission. All right, I am going to rotate my setup back around, but in that time, please put in the comments if you have any questions about the exercises we're working on. Here we go, rotation. You know who sells the impulse control stuff is my older dog, Bray, who, without being given any cues, is choosing to remain on his bed, even though his little sister is getting all the treats and attention right now. Guess what? That is not a natural behavior. That is done through training and focusing on impulse control. Okay, we are going to work on teaching your puppy to be calm when people eat. This is one of the most common things we get called about, just dogs and puppies who are just barking or trying to get attention or begging for food while people are eating. So the first step, Paya, yay, is to manage your puppy. Because, I mean, when we're eating, even me as a trainer, when I'm eating, I'm not really wanting to train. I want to eat and focus on my food and have just a minute when I don't think about my dogs. So management means putting your puppy in a space where they physically cannot come up to you and jump on the table and beg for food. It depends on your setup. Your dog doesn't need to be completely removed from where people eat, especially if in the long term you want them to kind of be in that space. But just find a pen, like an exercise pen. That's that metal thing back there. It's just folded up right now. That's a pen. Or a crate. So her crate's right here. Or a tether. So I tether her a lot. And, you know, you want them to be comfortable. So you want them to be able to drink water, chew on their toys, do natural dog things, but you just want to prevent them from coming up to you. Management is critical for training because it prevents your puppy from being able to come up to you and beg or steal food. And then you can also train and set up scenarios so that one day when they are not managed, so they are free roaming and you eat, the training will kick in and they're going to remember not to beg or bug you when you're eating. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to tether her now, right, Paya? So her tether, it's hard to see, but there is a reinforced cable line that's attached to her crate. And what it does is it keeps her on this side of the room and she is still managed at this point. I'm not ready to let her free roam for many, many reasons, even though she is already very well trained and responsive. But if you look at my earlier live streams, you'll see that she's been in a pen for a while. I still crate her sometimes, but you know, as training progresses, I do less and less of it, and it's all part of my plan. All right, let me see how I can get all of this here. All right. So let's say, just for the sake of example, that coffee table is my dinner table because my computer is on a chair that's on my literal dinner table, so I can't use that. So she's managed, right? So see how she's tethered? And actually, this isn't a great setup because if I did want to eat here, she could still steal food off here. So what I want to do is probably shorten her tether, or I should just eat farther down the table here. Because then even if she tries to steal food, see how she physically can't do that? So I can eat in peace and she will never practice the behavior of bugging me for food. So a mission is already accomplished. But how do I then develop this to a behavior where she will do this even when she's not tied up? There are a few steps. Management first, but now we're going to work on a place behavior. We did this yesterday in yesterday's live stream. We've done this in so many other live streams. We call it place training, mat training, or crate training. It just depends on what space you're using. But this, of all the skills you can teach any dog or puppy, the reason why we've done this so much is it's truly a critical skill. A lot of problems with dogs in the home arise when dogs don't understand that being in their spot is more rewarding, and they try to find other rewarding things in other spots, such as on your bed, on your table, on your couch. And then when you teach them a place behavior, this solves a lot of indoor puppy problems. Really quick run through. The easiest, there are many ways to teach it, but you can lure it. So use the treat, toss it onto their bed, get it. And honestly, if you just did this, if you just toss treats on their bed, they're gonna learn eventually that good things come from their bed. But you can be a little more formal about it. You can say a word and then toss the treat onto their bed. You can say place, you can say mat. If you're using a crate, you can say crate or kennel up or whatever you want it to be. And it can really be anything. It doesn't need to be a bed. It can be a mat. It can be a blanket. It's so versatile, but just think a place for my puppy to be. So I'm just going to get her off. To teach them the word, say the word before tossing the treat. Mat, toss the treat. And she's so good at this because that's why she's offering to be there. Certainly, if you see your puppy be there on their own, be ready to say good and toss them a treat because they've just made an excellent decision here. All right, before the sake of demonstration, to teach the word, just say it before rewarding them on the bed. Mat, or before rewarding them in the crate. Replace bed with whatever your choice of management is, or your choice of what your puppy's place is. Mat. And I'm just going to reward her. So I don't expect your puppies to be perfect at this today, but if you do this easy exercise for just a minute a day, then you're going to have a puppy that does it on cue. Go to your mat. Good. And then let's do it from this direction. Mat. Good. So see how nice and fluid this behavior is. It's because we've worked on it. And then I use this in so many situations. If you watch yesterday's live stream, you'll see that when my dogs are playing too rough, let's say, I can just tell them both to go to their mats. Problem solved. I don't need to wrangle them. I don't need to yell at them. They just know exactly what to do because I've taught them how to do it. So, and then in today's example, teaching your puppy not to steal food off the table, this applies too. So after working on this mat behavior, guess what? We're going to layer in a behavior we just worked on, which is the patient for food exercise, being patient for food exercise. So now that she's on her mat, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. Hold out food. She's still patient. Good. Toss it to her. Hold out food. Good. Toss it to her. Move it around a little bit. So maybe the food's here now. Good. She's still on her place. In her place. I'm going to toss it to her. Maybe the food's here now. Good. Toss it to her. Guess where I'm going to move the food? Towards the table. Good. Toss it to her. Good. What is your puppy learning here? They are learning that when food is on a human table, they should be in their place and not try to steal food off the human table. Remember how we did it with a plate too? So I'm just going to take this plate with this real piece of bread. I promise it's not fake. And same thing. Temptation, reward because she's doing a calm stationary behavior, but we're being more specific. She's in her place. I don't want her sitting next to me at the dinner table staring at me. Now I'm going to move it and reward her for being in her place. And I'm going to move it. Look at how calm she's being. I'm going to reward her. I'm not saying good though. That's my mistake because I'm narrating, but this is how it should be. Good. Good. Notice I still have my hand on it. If this is a new behavior, I want to keep my hand on it. So if my puppy does jump up for it, I'm ready to pick it up and move it away. Puppies will still be puppies. Good. Good. And then in short practice sessions, I can practice being at the table with my food, and I can reward my puppy for being calm in her space. Good. I didn't say good because I was narrating. All right. Oops, I dropped it on the floor. Good for not going after it. This is the result of a lot of hard work. And yes, she's tethered, right? So this is where management comes into play. She's tethered, so I know she can't, well, she can come here. It is long enough for her to come here. But theoretically, maybe she couldn't reach it anyways, right? But notice she wasn't relying on the tether to make good choices. Like right now, she's coming forward because I'm doing this with my hands. But she didn't like hit the end and then stop. She was on her bed the entire time. So I'm eating dinner, and actually, like, let's make pretend I'm eating this piece of bread. I didn't even tell her to go to her place. Look at what she's already doing. Good. Awesome. Alrighty. Of course, I would never leave food on the table and go to work. I expect, well, Paya is still a puppy, but Bray, I can leave a steak on the coffee table and go like use the bathroom or get the mail, and he will not eat my food because of this training that I did with him as a puppy. But, you know, dogs are still dogs. You don't train to the point of expecting miracles like putting a steak on your coffee table and going to work. But this will solve most scenarios of if you have friends over or if you're eating dinner or preparing food, and you can teach your dogs, your puppies, to be nice and patient and calm and not impulsive, even though food is moving around and definitely within reach. Okay, so that covers a variety of situations. We talked about teaching your puppy to wait for food, and we started with an easy version where the food is in your hand. We did a version with food on the plate. We worked on teaching your puppy to be patient at the door instead of running outside. And we applied a lot of those skills and worked on a place behavior to teach your puppy to be nice and calm and not beg for food or steal food when people are eating. So I don't see any questions. Thank you for the affirmation in the comments section. And those were all the skills that I wanted to work on. So let me share the info card. That way, if you have any questions about what we've worked on or really any training or behavior question, you can reach me and my team. Okay, I'm just going to do a share screen here. So as you can see, if you have any questions, please email us at behavior@myhswm.org. And like I said in the beginning, next week is our last set of live streams. We're going to have one more behavior spotlight and one more puppy class live stream. And although I'm sad, I'm also happy because the reason why we're ending live streams is we're going to start group programs soon. And all of our previous live streams are on our YouTube channel now and forever for free. So whether you want tips on teaching your puppy to come when called, or you want to work on some tricks, we have live streams and videos on a variety of topics. And again, this is all for free. You can share it with your family. You can share it with your friends. We just want easy, fun, and effective behavior information out there for people in our community and beyond. If you are feeling generous, if you make a donation to us, no matter how big or small, every penny of that donation will go towards the care of our shelter pets. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And thank you for tuning in. If you've been tuning in, this has been such a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week for our last set of live streams. Have a good night.